school boards in Butte and Bozeman decide classes will not resume inside school buildings this school year. What's behind those decisions is coming up.
With retail shops able to open back up, we might see more people coming to downtown Bozeman. I'm Annie Johnson, and I'll have the full story coming up.
While businesses get ready to open on May 4th, some small bars and casinos in Butte are having trouble with the guidelines.
6:30 on this Tuesday. Chet Lehman, Caitlin Corbett, Matt Elwell with you here. We'll have those stories in a moment. Meantime, the sun is coming up, or is actually up, and it's beautiful out there right now.
It is beautiful, and the birds are chirping. They're going to hate
it's
me
loud.
here in about
I know, it's loud.
10 minutes when I walk out. The robins dislike me when I go out on the Billy and Otto weather patio. Early morning temperatures into the 30s and 40s. A lot of sunshine on tap for today. No big changes, at least in the overall pattern. Our skies are going to clear. Temperatures are going to warm up. Does look like we have some 70s near 80s on the horizon. We'll, of course, talk about that, how that may impact some other aspects of our little part of the world. That's all coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Matt. 6:30 now. The Gallatin City County Health Department reports the first COVID-19 related death in Gallatin County.
The person was a man more than 60 years old who had been hospitalized. The health department says out of respect for the family, no information will be released at this time. Gallatin County has been leading the state in the number of cases for weeks. The last report stood at 146. According to the state health department, there is one new case in Yellowstone County. That brings the total number of cases to 449. More than 13,000 tests have been completed so far. There are 11 people hospitalized right now, and 15 people have died from the virus.
6:31 now. The Bozeman School Board says it will keep public schools closed through the rest of the school year. DN's Gabby Crevitt picks up the story.
Okay, all in favor? Vote passes 8-0.
The Bozeman School Board voted unanimously in favor of continuing remote learning for the remainder of the school year. Local school boards were given the authority by Governor Steve Bullock to decide whether or not to return to the classroom on May 7th. Trustees took public comment before voting.
I think some sort of limited return would be great as soon as possible. The structure of school is so much better than the online learning.
What we're doing is different now, but it would still be different even if they were in the school buildings. It would never be the same as it was. You know, the process of instruction would be so totally different. All of their socialization would be different.
Trustees echoed similar concerns as Bozeman School Superintendent Bob Connors expressed last Friday.
Will the environment be safe for at-risk teachers and who have family members who are at risk?
We have so many unknowns right now. If this were January and we were looking at what we were doing after spring break, the timing would be very different.
I support this motion. That's not without serious consideration to those parents that are struggling at home, that do need to work and have children at home.
At one point, the board meeting was up to nearly 500 participants.
I have a senior myself. We're all in this together as a community. We're all in this as a school board to help you guys, and feel free to ping us on email. It's a great way to ask questions.
In Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Butte School Board, by the way, of trustees also keeping classrooms closed for the remainder of the school year. A special meeting yesterday, the school district leaders voted to continue the remote learning program for the remainder of the school year. That program was put in place last month due to the coronavirus outbreak. Also here in Montana, a slow reopening of business began yesterday. Montana Governor Steve Bullock says that reopening was only possible because Montanans took the virus seriously. Beginning next week, bars, restaurants, and casinos will also open up with restrictions. Gyms will remain closed, and Governor Bullock said reason for their exclusion was based upon recommendations from health officials due to sweat transfer and heavy breathing.
Where you could actually be in pretty close contact with someone who could sneeze or cough, that it really is a good idea. It's not a requirement, it's not a mandate, but it really is a good idea to wear one of those masks, a non-medical mask, just to keep our community that much safer.
Governor is also asking people to continue social distancing and wear a face mask in grocery stores.
Time now is 6:34. You may have already seen the first effects from Governor Steve Bullock's plans to reopen the state. MTN's Annie Johnson reports from downtown Bozeman with more.
Today's a big day for retail stores across Montana. Phase 1 of Governor Bullock's plans to reopen the state allows retail stores to open for business, and that includes stores in downtown Bozeman.
It's today. It's like the first day back for everyone. I think everyone's kind of just trying to figure it out.
This downtown clothing store opened their doors to shoppers, but they came up with their own way to enforce Governor Bullock's guidelines.
And do just appointments, like half-hour appointments, like private shopping, basically.
Another retail store owner says this pandemic has pushed her to try some new things as well.
Oh, yes. Definitely learned some new techniques.
And Duggar knew she was ready to open up as soon as the announcement was made.
There was no real debate for me. I'm definitely ready to be open, but only for the customers who are ready to be out and about.
But the decision wasn't as easy for everyone.
It was a huge debate, huge debate. We didn't know what we wanted to do, what would work. We still really don't. But we're kind of just rolling with it.
Despite the approval to open back up, there were still quite a few retail stores that chose to remain closed. But so far, these stores are seeing a positive response in opening.
From people saying, thank you for doing what you're doing, thank you for opening, just kind of a general community thank you, which is pretty awesome.
It was a quiet start today, but both businesses hope it will slowly return back to normal.
I just hope that it's a gradual process and it works smoothly.
I think it's going to be just kind of a little bit of a trickle until people start to get a little bit more comfortable. I think especially this first week is going to be kind of a trial and error.
Next week, restaurants will be allowed to open their dining room areas for customers. Reporting in Bozeman, Annie Johnson, MTN News.
Now at the same time, business owners in Butte are trying to decide whether or not to reopen. MTN's John Amy reports some of them are taking a wait-and-see approach.
While many bars and restaurants are eager to open on May 4th, some small casinos and bars in Butte will find it difficult.
I know some other casinos that are as small as we are not opening on May 4th for the same reason that we are not.
The reason is the social distancing guidelines that requires at least 6 feet of separation between customers. In a business like Crazy Carol's Casino, this doesn't leave much room.
We still can only have a total of maybe 3 people in here at one time. That does not pay your power, that does not pay your wages, that does not pay your drinks.
The casino has been rejected from getting certain loans because its revenue is mainly through gaming. Management wishes guidelines could be more accommodating for smaller businesses. But until then, they will adapt.
We're not going nowhere by any means, but we're having a hard time riding the storm out. We are going to ride it out. We're going to protect our customers, employees, and I'll say that a million times.
So in this room, if they're going to follow the guidelines, they might be able to fit 2 machines. So without some customized guidelines for smaller businesses, well, they're out of luck.
I'm just wondering if there is a way that our county officials can come around and maybe these smaller places help us customize a guideline.
In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Just ahead of 6:38 now, this is a really interesting one. So if you've been having some weird dreams lately amidst all of this stay-at-home business, you're not alone.
That's for sure. A researcher with Harvard Medical School is surveying people around the world. She says the most striking change from dreams comes during normal time is added anxiety. Some show literal fears over the coronavirus, like being out in public, suddenly realizing you don't have a mask. Others have shown metaphors to the pandemic.
The biggest single cluster is bug dreams. There are masses of squirming worms and swarms of flying insects and cockroaches running at the dreamer.
Now, Dr. Deirdre Barrett says our day-to-day activities and feelings tend to carry over into our dreams. For healthcare workers on the front lines, those dreams have become full-on nightmares. Barrett says they look similar to what you would see in a person dealing with PTSD.
Some people very soon after they stop dealing with the pandemic will go back to normal dreaming, but a lot of them will develop these dreams they're having right now about their day-to-day work as a recurring nightmare that they have for weeks or months or years.
Barrett says she hopes her survey will gather enough data to compare dreams by region, emotions, and time. That includes how dreams may change from the start of the pandemic. It is really interesting as
That
well.
whole thing about the bugs is interesting. I don't think I've had any bug-related dreams so far. Have you?
No, not bug dreams. I've had some really weird and vivid dreams, but nothing about bugs or cockroaches. Not
Interesting. Yeah, I don't really think I want any like bundles of worms coming into my dreams. I could do without that.
Nope, not yet for me either. So we'll see. Keep monitoring, and I look forward to seeing how her study continues to work out. Right now it is almost 6:40. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, meat prices may be going up to coronavirus. Coming up, why it's happening, what officials are saying of talk about possible shortages. But first, let's check in with our friends at CBS This Morning and see what's happening at 7 o'clock.
Good morning to you. Ahead first on CBS This Morning, get an inside look at efforts to fight the coronavirus by a Pentagon agency known for outside-the-box innovation. Also, the CEO of Target joins us this morning to discuss what recent sales data says about the future of retail. Plus, we continue to look at the new normal. What does that mean? How businesses hope thermal imaging can help stop the spread of COVID-19. And also, first on CBS This Morning, I like when we can say it, I'm going to say it again. First on CBS This Morning, actor and philanthropist, that's Sean Penn, talks about his relief organization's fight against the virus. We'll see you 7 o'clock on the dot.